Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Inshallah, we'll proceed now with our little khatira, our short khatiras, which we are now on Surah Taha. And Surah Taha, what happened is that Al-Mut'im ibn Adi, always got to be something. What happened was that Al-Mut'im ibn Adi, as well as Abu Jahl, as well as Al-Nadr ibn al-Harith, as well as Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira. These four men, at a time when they were still having some talks with the Prophet ﷺ and trying to get him to stop doing what he was doing and saying what he was saying, which wasn't from him, it was from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they were trying to stop him by talking, by persuading him and having discussions with him to stop this revelation. So one of the ways in which people try to stop others is by showing them that what they're doing is exhausting to themselves. Okay. And so they said to him, لِمَاذَا أَشْقَيْتَ نَفْسَكَ? Why did you make yourself exhausted with this? Right? You made yourself miserable. And a shaqawa is hardship, misery, difficulty, pain. Okay. All these things we can describe it as shaqawa. All right. And so the Abu Jahl and these Quraysh, this is what they came with. They came with this message to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that why are you exhausting yourself? And so Allah Ta'ala revealed, Taha ma anzalna alayka al-Qur'ana litashqa. And Taha, people debated, is it the Prophet's, is that a nickname to the Prophet, peace be upon him? Is that one of his nicknames, or is it two letters of the Quran? Well, the answer is, look, you have letters that are themselves names. For example, Noon, Dhun Noon, right? Noon is a letter in the Quran. Noon wal qalmi ma yasturun. But we also have, who is the Prophet that is known as Dhun Noon, right? Sayyidina Yunus alayhi salam. His name is Dhun Noon, meaning of the whale. So Noon is a letter of the Quran, but it's also a word. Okay, it's a harf and it's a kalima. It's an ism that indicates the whale. All right, Noon. How about Qaf? Qaf wal Quran al Majid. You have the letter Qaf. That's one of the muqatta'at. Again, especially for those youngins who are listening, the muqatta'at are the individual letters that begin surahs by themselves. You pronounce the letter as is. Okay, and there are 29 surahs that begin with muqatta'at, and there are 14 letters. And the way that you can memorize this is the phrase Nassun Hakimun Lahu Sirrun Qati', which means a wise text with a clear purpose. Nassun Hakimun Lahu Sirrun Qati'. Okay, a wise text that has a clear purpose, a decisive purpose, we should say, decisive. Right? Nassun Hakimun Lahu Sirrun Qati'. 14 letters that are divided up into different, and some of them are used more than once. Like Alif is used a lot. Alif Lam Mim is a couple times. Alif Lam Ra, Alif Lam Mim Ra. Ha Mim 7 times in a row. 7 surahs in a row. Then Noon by itself, Qaf by itself. Surah Maryam, Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad. Right? So the answer is that it's both. Taha is both. It's both 2 letters, and at the same time, it is the one of the nicknames of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that's why people name Taha. And likewise, Yasin. Okay, Yasin is not just 2 letters. Some people say, "Why would you name Yasin? It's just 2 letters." No, it's not just 2 letters. It's also a name, just like Noon. Qaf. Okay, Qaf. There is a mountain called Jabal Qaf. It's a very famous mountain, right? Jabal Qaf. All right, there's a lot of there are letters out there that are also names. Okay, so that's the answer to that question of whether or not Taha is just 2 letters or it's actually a name of the Prophet ﷺ. It can be both, and we gave the example of Noon and Qaf. All right. Secondly, another question. So we say these are letters. Okay, these are letters. Now, the first point about these letters is that this ta is not the actual name of the letter. The official name is ta'un, ta' with a hamza at the end. How about ra', ha', ha'? Okay, the letter is not ta, it's ta'. with the Hamza. But the Arabs, they found that the Hamza is the most difficult letter, and it is a difficult letter. Hamza one of the letters that you want to eat up as much as possible, and that's why the sign of somebody who knows tajweed and knows how and was taught how to recite, and the one who doesn't know how to recite is the Hamza. If they pronounce the Hamza, then you know he knows what he's doing. If he eats up the Hamza, then you know that he wasn't trained. There are weeds, right, in his recitation. That the sign of good recitation is the Hamza. Now you know that there are qira'at meaning dialects, okay, in which the Hamza is just completely, they removed it because the Arabs liked the flow to the language. And every language is meant to have flow. Language is meant for ease. So you have Warsh, the recitation of Warsh. He's Imam Warsh, the recitation that's named after him. That's the original recitation of Quraysh. It doesn't have a lot of Hamzas. A lot of Hamzas are just removed. Mu'min is recited as Mu'min. So, but in this case, the ta, the Hamza is removed. So you say taha. You don't say ta, ha. Second observation you need to make. Okay, first one being the Hamza is being removed. Second observation is that all of the Quran is what's called mabni ala al-wasl. It's the Quran is in such a way that you're supposed to be constantly reading it as if you could read it all in one breath, in the sense that the last word of every verse is built so that you can continue on to the next verse. Even the last verse in Surah An-Nas has a min al-jinnati wan-nasi bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So it has a kasra there. It's basically telling you continue reading. Go back to bismillahir rahmanir rahim alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. So this is what we mean mabni ala al-wasl. It's all continuous. All right. Every end of an ayah, the last letter has in it a tashkil so that you can continue to the next ayah. It's meant to be continuously recited. However, we find that with these muqatta'at letters, that's not the case. With the muqatta'at, okay, each letter stops with itself. So you don't say ta'un, ha'un, right? You don't say kafun, ha'un, ya'un, aynun, sadun, right? You don't say it like that. You say kaf, ha, ya, ayn, sad. So there's qat'a, there's stopping. Stop, 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 stop. Why? Any time that you're demanded to stop, why do people stop? So that you can look, so you can think, right? So when you look at the muqatta'at, they're mabni ala al-qat', right? Or they're ala al-waqf, sorry, not ala al-wasl, so that you have to actually stop, right? You don't have to stop and take a breath, so you could say them all in order, but there's no tashkil that links them to one another, right? You don't say alifun, lamun, mimun. No, you say alif, lam, mim, right? You say it in one breath, but you say alif, lam, mim. You don't say alifun, lamun, mimun. So the reason for that is that Allah Ta'ala wants people to realize with what did He author His book? He authored it with the same letters that everyone else uses. No one uses any different letters, okay? And that's part of the challenge that the Quran came to the mushrikeen of Quraysh, to the mushrikeen. He came to them with the challenge, bring a book like this. Bring a book like this. So this challenge is very interesting because first of all, the challenge was bring a book like this. So when we say bring a book like this, okay? So how do we describe the Quran? Well, one way we can describe is its usages. The Quran is used for recitation, for prayer. So it's a book of prayer. It's a book that is used as medicine too. We recite it as a ruqya upon the sick. It's a book for law. It's a book to know our origins. It's a book to know our future. In other words, that there's the grave, and then there's life after the grave, and then there's resurrection, then there's heaven and hell. It's a book to know our history, specifically the history of the prophets, the history of the message. Okay, it's a book that has in it a solution to every problem. Right? If not in specific, then in general. So these are just some basic usages of the Quran. It's a book that has no alternate. In other words, there's no Arab Quran, Persian Quran, right? Updated Quran, 15th century Quran. It's one Quran. Wherever you go in the world, and if you were to go 200 years ago, it's the same Quran. So it's a book that's unchanged. It's a book that's memorized. So when we say that, what is the challenge of the Quran? Go get a book that is used for all these purposes and has this description. It's a book that is also the art form of the Arabs, of the Muslims, right? Which started with the Arabic calligraphy. The Arabs did it, then the Turks took it on, and everyone took it on after that. But it's an art form. What is the art of the Muslims? It's to write the Quran in a beautiful way, put it on. Look at the Dome of the Rock, okay? The Dome of the Rock, the big golden domed masjid on a hill, okay, which enshrines in it the place where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did the Mi'raj, and all around it is the most beautiful calligraphy you'll ever see. Okay, so show me a book that's used for prayer when you're nervous and anxious, or you want to thank Allah. Okay, for gratitude. Gratitude is a big portion of part of human psychology. Show me a book that's used for law, for medicine, for knowing our past, for knowing our future, what's to come in life and existence, for art that's memorized, that has no alternative. Okay, show me a book that has all this, that's global, that's worldwide, not like in one village is used only. Okay, show me a book that has all these features. That's why Surah Al-Mursalat says, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Once you've contemplated the usages of this Quran, that this one book has unified an ummah. It's unified people from continents, from centuries. This is the book that Ibn Khaldun says the Arabs were a people who were illiterate, that had nothing, that had nothing to be proud of, and no thought. They had very little thought. They had language, they had poetry, that's it. But once they became busy with the Quran, then they became legal minds. In other words, they developed usul al-fiqh. They became mathematical minds. Because of the inheritance laws in the Quran, algebra was born. And all of math thereafter was born, is based upon al-jabr. Al-jabr being algebra, okay? Because of the inheritance laws. And this is a well-known fact, that by studying the inheritance laws, the Muslims developed algebra. So it's a book that spawns sciences. It spawns legal theory, right? All this spawns. So Surah Al-Mursalat tells us, فَبِأَيِّ حَدِيثٍ بَعْدَهُ يُؤْمِنُونَ. Once you've seen this, who's going to compete? What book will compete with this single book that has in it everything you need, from your law, from your future, from your past? It's memorized. It's your art form. It's also, I don't want to say it's your music. Of course, we can't say the word music, but it's our auditory enjoyment. It's from the Quran. Okay, so this one book has gathered all this. That's what the challenge of the Quran is. All right, bring me anything else that has matched all these things. You can bring me a great book of law. Is it memorized? Nobody memorizes it. You can bring me a great book of philosophical thought. Do kids recite it and enjoy it? Do common folk listen to it for enjoyment? No. Is it an art form? No. Right? So is it global, worldwide? No. Bring me another book like the Bible. Okay, the Bible has stories of the past, and it tells you about, maybe, I don't know if it tells you about the Day of Judgment. Okay, fine. Is there one, or is there 1,000 different types? This King James translation, then they have the Greek version, then you have this, that, and the other, and then they keep renewing it. All right, every time morals change. Okay, and then you have to compare the different ones. Okay, so that's what it means, the challenge of the Quran. And the muqatta'at, these letters is part of this challenge, because it's saying the material of this book is exactly the same as your own speech. Letters, that's all. It's what it's made of, letters, right? So that's the challenge of the Quran, and what is meant by the challenge of the Quran to the Quraysh to bring a book like this. All right. Okay, so with that, alhamdulillah, that is our message for the day. It's an important one, and it's one that you can really easily package in your head. And it really is a pretty logical and objective, because we do see these usages of the Quran right in front of us. Every day we all look at beautiful Quranic calligraphy. We all listen to it. We recite it when we have headaches. We take rulings and we debate legal theories based upon the verses of the Quran. We memorize it, and we have competitions, and we have celebrations for memorizing it. Okay, it's the one thing that unites us all. okay, which is the Quran, which is Salah. What unites Muslims? Salah. That's what brings us to the masjid is Salah. Cancel Salah, there's no reason to come to the masjid. And what is Salah? It's recitation of the Quran. So this book has all these functions, and we're being challenged. If after you get this book, who's going to compete, right? What other book is going to compete? And this is something objective, not just in emotional love for the Quran. All right, with that, let's take a look at what we have from Sami Kadovic. Let's see what he has for us. And we had pretty busy day yesterday. We had the youth. We had a young man by the name of Asad Khan. Some people call him Asad, but I call him Asad. And he likes to be called Asad. But he won yesterday, and I guess we should announce it. He won, and the youth contests for it was like a quiz basically of Dini questions, which is very good that he won that fair and square all by himself. And that's the thing, is you always get surprised by who wins, and he won this by himself, got every single question right. I mean, really surprised us all. Every single question right. It was such a fun night, and hopefully again when we do it again with the tweens, there will be another competition like that, bi'idhnillah, and you get your tweens to pick up. But tonight will be for the adults, and Sami Kadovic will announce that. So let's turn it over to our ED. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Yeah, it was truly those who missed it. Sorry you missed it. The kids who missed it. Sorry, even the adults. It was a fun night. Alhamdulillah, I had a great time. I think the kids had a great time too as well. Last night, not only kids' activities and stories, and it was a nice interaction, and it allowed us to connect. Alhamdulillah. Thank you to all the people who were involved in putting that together and facilitating that. Tonight, inshallah ta'ala, we do have our evening adult or spiritual evening at 11:30, inshallah. So we invite you to come and do that, to join that. Tomorrow we do have our cooking show, 1 o'clock, iftar cooking. And we have Tuesday is our Taco Tuesday. All the baskets were all the Mother's Day gifts were sold out for tomorrow. And so those who are receiving them, happy Mother's Day. And those who weren't, you can get something else, or inshallah ta'ala. But please take part in these activities, and try to involve your families as well. And so we look forward to seeing you tonight, inshallah ta'ala, 10:30, and then followed by 11:30, come back for the late night spiritual program. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أيوة بسم الله.
اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وآله وبارك وسلم. يا شفيع البراء سلام عليك يا نبي الهدى سلام عليك يا شفيع الوراء سلام عليك يا نبي الهدى سلام عليك خاتم الأنبياء سلام عليك سيد الأصفياء سلام عليك إنك مقصدي وملجئي إنك مدعى سلام عليك سيدي يا حبيبي مولاي كل العالم فداك سلام عليك يا شفيع الورى سلام عليك يا نبي الهدى سلام عليك اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وآله وبارك وسلم اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة ربنا تقبل صيامنا ربنا تقبل صلاتنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا ودعاءنا وسلامنا وقراءتنا يا رب العالمين يا أرحم الراحمين يا أكرم الأكرمين اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم فاعف عنا يا غفور يا غفور يا كريم اللهم أيد الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات يا رب العالمين وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين
سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله يا رب العالمين. Reminder to everyone, we're back at 11:30, inshallah. A new stream for the evening program. We have a late night program tonight with a guest speaker and some adhkar and some qasaid and some dua. So please join us again at 11:30. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.